Fire. Want to hear something scary? This isn't real, this isn't real, this can't be happening. We've all had horrific nightmares at some point in our lives. And just when it feels like there's no hope for you, you wake up safe in your bed. But what if waking up wasn't enough? What if the demon was still there? In this next chapter, I will be sharing a true experience that a friend of mine had. So Mike was attending law school and lived by himself in an apartment in Fullerton, California, apparently one of the most haunted cities in Orange County. In the first few months of living there, he started seeing things and feeling things. When he watched TV, it felt like someone was watching him. When he'd walk into a room, he'd see someone standing there just before he turned the lights on to find the room empty. Living alone is probably just messing with me, he thought to himself. Then one Friday night, Mike was washing dishes in his kitchen when he suddenly got the very strong feeling that someone was standing behind him. He looked in the reflection of the butter knife he was washing. It was his grandmother. She had died 5 years before. She looked incredibly concerned and was pointing towards the door. He turned around, but there was no one there. Creeped out, he decided to spend the weekend at a friend's place. When he came back home on Monday, he had forgotten about his grandmother's visit, and later that night, he had a terrible dream. He found himself in a dark alleyway, face to face with this woman, whose face was completely covered in shadows, and yet he could still make out her black eyes. She kept pointing toward this old building in the distance, like she wanted him to follow her there, but he kept hearing his grandmother's voice in the back of his head. "Leave! Get out!" So he started to back away from the shadow-faced lady. Then she lunged at him, grabbing his wrists so tight that they stung like cold knives. The moment she touched him, Mike could somehow see all the evil things she had done in her past. He managed to kick her off of him just as he woke up. His heart was racing and his wrists were still stinging. Before he could catch his breath, the shadow-faced lady appeared again, grabbed his wrists, and pulled him out of bed. This isn't real, this can't be happening, he kept thinking to himself. He threw her off of him and she slammed into the couch so hard that it moved out of place, along with some other furniture. Slowly, she stood back up, looked at him with her soulless eyes, winked, and began to vanish from her stomach outward. He fell back onto his bed. He lay there awake until the sun rose. Still in disbelief, he sat up and looked over at his living room furniture. Everything was still knocked out of place. It definitely was not a dream. He went to the church, got some blessed crosses, and placed them around his apartment. The woman never appeared again. To this day, he isn't sure what attacked him that night, but he knows that his grandma was trying to warn him. Do you believe skinwalkers are real? Let me know in the comments. But be careful, you might be drawing their attention to you. Like this video if it gave you the chills, and don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and check out our other videos. Until next time.